Welcome back to Peptide Proof, the explainer where peptide science meets real-world application. Today, we're diving into a fast-paced, data-rich report on an absolute game-changer. We're unpacking an incredible new AI-driven discovery by beauty giant Amorepacific, and we're going to see exactly how this fits into the explosive, authoritative, and completely evidence-based world of modern peptide science.
Look at this data point right off the bat. 2x, twice the efficiency. According to the data released by the researchers, this newly discovered, completely AI-designed peptide shows more than twice the keratin binding efficiency compared to existing hair care peptides in vitro tests. I mean, we aren't talking about a tiny 5% bump here. We are literally talking about doubling the efficacy of structural hair repair.
So let's get right into our first major section, the AI hair breakthrough.
We're zeroing in on South Korean beauty giant Amorepacific. This major breakthrough was recently reported in Cosmetics and Toiletries and has been echoing across Korea Biomed and global cosmetic news. What they've done is successfully design a completely novel peptide ingredient. And the crazy part? It wasn't discovered by accident. It was specifically engineered from the ground up using artificial intelligence and molecular modeling to strengthen keratin, the core structural building block of the hair, from the inside out.
This brilliantly illustrates the massive shift happening in the industry right now. Historically, the discovery of cosmetic peptides relied on analogous screening. Essentially trial and error testing of similar-looking, already known molecules. That traditional R&D process, it's incredibly inefficient. We're talking about a development cycle measured in years. But with the AI paradigm, we're skipping that and moving straight into highly efficient, target-designed molecular modeling. AI has basically condensed the time it takes to get from setting a target to actually confirming a viable candidate by an entire order of magnitude.
Which leads us perfectly into our next section, designing the perfect peptide.
What's truly fascinating here is how the AI acts as this ultimate molecular architect. It really breaks down into 3 distinct steps. First, the AI algorithms screen thousands upon thousands of potential peptide sequences to predict how well they might bind to keratin. Then, for step 2, it doesn't just guess. It actually uses molecular modeling technology to simulate the interactions between the candidate peptide and the keratin fibers at an atomic level. And finally, step 3 is the payoff. A highly specific peptide that successfully forms a stable binding layer right on the surface of damaged hair fibers, literally reinforcing that structure from within. The crucial takeaway here is that this represents a total paradigm shift. We're finally transitioning from an era of borrowed skin peptides to an era of bespoke hair design. For the longest time, the hair care market has kind of been underestimated when it comes to peptides, despite the fact that hair keratin can be vastly improved in strength and elasticity by peptides without actually altering the hair's underlying chemical structure. Because here was the problem, right? Historically, most peptide hair products just borrowed famous facial anti-aging peptides. You probably know these names, you might even have them in your bathroom cabinet right now. Ardrilline, Matrixyl, or the copper peptide GHKCU. And hey, they're fantastic for facial skin repair and collagen stimulation. But they were never specifically designed for hair. Amorepacific's approach is a true targeted design. It's an absolute industry paradigm upgrade.
Okay, let's take a breath and hit our third section, the R&D reality check.
Look, while the AI discovery phase is nothing short of revolutionary, we still need to ground this in actual biotech development timelines. Our source material hit the nail on the head with this insight. AI accelerates front-end discovery, but not back-end product development. AI is incredible for discovering those initial candidates for sure, but it is not a magic wand that lets you skip the rigorous back-end scientific legwork. Before these bespoke peptides ever hit the shelf in a Solwasu or Lineage product, they still have to pass through traditional, time-consuming laboratory hurdles. We're talking about formulation adaptation, strict stability testing, real-world efficacy verification, and of course, rigorous safety evaluations. The brands have to manage consumer expectations because the science of safety simply cannot be rushed by an algorithm. And that brings us to our final theme today, the custom peptide era.
This hair care breakthrough? It's just one drop in a massive scientific tidal wave happening right now across the broader peptide landscape. Just look at therapeutics. GLP-1 agonists are moving way beyond diabetes and weight loss, expanding into cardiovascular and neurodegenerative uses. In synthesis, we're seeing mRNA libraries like rapid display reaching an astounding 10 to the 13th power in diversity, incorporating over 400 non-canonical amino acids. And in oncology,
Peptide drug conjugates, or PDCs, are showing massive promise, achieving 38% response rates even in patients whose cancers resist standard antibody treatments.
Get this. Historically, a staggering 85% of the human proteome, the complete set of proteins in our bodies, was considered totally undruggable by traditional medicine. Only 15% were druggable. But now, we're seeing cyclic or macrocyclic peptides breaching that 85% barrier. And remarkably, AI-driven design is currently achieving 34% hit rates in this previously completely inaccessible territory.
And the proof is right here in the clinical data. There are currently 23 active clinical programs for peptide drug conjugates, offering superior tissue penetration and lower manufacturing costs than traditional antibody alternatives. And for cyclic peptides targeting that undruggable proteome, there are 47 candidates currently in clinical development. The era of customized, highly targeted AI-driven peptides isn't just theoretical anymore, it is officially here, crossing over from life-saving oncology to your daily hair care routine.
So, I'll leave you with this provocative question to think about. As AI rapidly moves from designing bespoke molecules that strengthen the keratin in our hair, to homing in on treatment-resistant cancer cells, to successfully unlocking the undruggable human proteome, what part of human biology will we successfully redesign next? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.